In our lifetime, China will become the most powerful nation on earth. Doubt it. How do you think life will be like once they are the ones dictating terms worldwide? China is not going to be the world's most powerful nation on earth in our lifetime. However, they will become powerful enough, a lot more powerful and powerful enough to be able to dictate terms worldwide without being the most powerful nation on earth. Okay, you guys are really underestimating the gap. I know why it's hard to believe that the gap between United States and China is so massive that it's not going to be closed for the foreseeable future. The reason is because United States power is just there and China's is rising, and that's the rise of it just makes it seem like, oh my God, they're gonna just be the most powerful country, like right about like one generation. No, the gap is just way too big for them to be equals. However, they don't have to be equals. It doesn't even make sense financially for them to be equals. It's just so much waste for them to be equals. They will be able to demand terms. You could cause so much misery and chaos and become such a headache with 1/10 of the power of the United States, so much so that people have to listen to you, and you will be able to dictate terms, and people have to negotiate with you, and people have to take you seriously, because with 1/10 of the power of the United States, you will be a new, like, people will not be able to ignore you, right? You don't have to have equal power. In fact, having that much power is just like you're wasting. Why would no? No, it's not gonna get there, at least not in our lifetime. However, yes, it will still suck, because China is a country that, at least countries like North American countries and Western European countries have to somewhat care about human rights. I know there's many examples of them contradicting, actually, this whole human rights being important to them. There are many examples. I know you don't have to list them for me. However, there's some limitations. There's some respect for human rights, okay, and some understanding that, well, there are some rules that we have to abide by, right? The problem with China is that there's like no barriers, anything goes, and that's horrible. However, it's hard to predict what things are going to be like, because it's possible that China's identity will change as people's GDP per capita rises, right? One reason people expected China to become more caring about human rights was that they understood that if a country keeps becoming more advanced and the economic growth will lead into democracy and this desire for a clean human rights record. And they're like, we just need to trade with China, and eventually we'll get to that point because of the relationship that China has with these other countries and these values that will become, unanimously accepted internationally, because these are how advanced countries and rich countries operate, right? However, I do think that this is a miscalculation, because I think this is more a function of GDP per capita rather than GDP. So even if China's GDP is massive, right, what is a better predictor of actual human rights and democracy is GDP per capita. And again, there are exceptions to this, especially for countries that have to have oil coming, like, or other natural resources, because their governments don't have to appeal to their people. But as a country keeps growing economically, and a major source of the government's resources comes from its own people, then the people's relative power to the government will keep increasing to the point where, potentially, by the way, none of this is like for sure, to the point where people are going to demand beyond just like being able to keep a roof over their head and food in their belly. They would want rights, they would want freedom, they would want other things, right? So if China, we don't know what China's nature is going to be like when when that happens, it might have a crisis of identity, things might change, right? So it really depends on how China changes internally as its economy grows, right? And a more demand for consistent human rights record might change China's nature internally and externally. Okay, again, I'm not saying any of this will happen. I'm just saying the factors are so massive, so high in number for anybody to be able to come up with an accurate prediction.
Hey guys, if you want to join these streams live, get your comments and questions read by Ali and Armin and the guests, and most importantly, to get full access to the full video versions of all these episodes, become a patron. Link in the description below.